microwaves are.
Yes.
And then what about crock pots? You know what crock pots are? It's also, you can use like well, I got our chef here. You know what a crock pot is? How's a crock pot used? Don't y'all want to hear from our chef? Hang on. So a crock pot, you plug it in, and you leave it in, you put the food and everything in there. And then what happens? Pressure cooker. It's like a pressure cooker. Where you cook it like all day, 18 hours. It's electric. Okay. It's electric. That's the difference. Thank you. This is from our chef. You know, bring something to eat? Yeah. So, what's your favorite meat? What do you like to eat? Pork. Pork. Huh? Goat meat. I had some delicious lamb. I had some lamb the other day. So good. Have you ever had microwave pork? Where you put it in the microwave, you set it on for a few minutes, and it cooks it. It's hard, it doesn't taste good. Same with beef, ribs, or goat, or lamb. It's tough, you know. But you put it in the crock pot or the pressure cooker, and you cook it all day. It's tender, it just falls off the bone. It's got great flavor. Well, you know what? Growing ourselves as leaders. Yes. Growing ourselves as leaders works the same way. It's not microwave. It's pressure cooked or crock potted. It marinates. It takes a while to grow and develop. Okay? But I'll tell you, if you'll do it, if you'll put it in a pressure cooker, this leadership thing, and let it marinate over time, over hours, it is so much better. More effective, yes. And so it's a process. It's a process. It's not a quick thing. Okay? So be patient with yourself. Okay? So understand that it's a process. It's not an event. There in your book, motivation gets you going, but habits get you there. We're talking about discipline. Habits get you there. You will never change your life until you change something you do daily. The secret of your future is hidden in your daily routine. Growth is not an automatic process. It is determined by the choices we make, the changes we make, and the climate we create. And then John shares a couple of resources there that you can use if you want to grow in this area. So, in 1998, John Maxwell was traveling all over the world doing leadership training. And he wasn't taking care of himself. His health was bad. He was overweight. He loved peanut butter pies and he was eating things that he shouldn't have been eating. And he went to a dinner, and there was a doctor there at the dinner, and the doctor told him that he said, Mr. Maxwell, I've been observing said, you're a heart attack waiting to happen. If you don't make some changes in how you take care of yourself. And John just, didn't pay attention. And he said, well, here, I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you my business card. And if you ever have an issue, a health issue, and you need someone, please call me. So then John went on his way. He didn't change anything. He didn't change his diet. He didn't change his stress level. He was still traveling all over the world doing leadership trainings.
He didn't listen.
He did not listen. That's good. Thank you, Lord. He did not listen. And so the company, this was the year before I joined them, the company was having their Christmas party at a big, nice arena in Atlanta, Georgia. And while they were there, he was on the dance floor. He had a heart attack. And he fell on the floor. And when he had his heart attack, he said, different things happen to different people when they think they're going to die, that they're about to die. And he said the first thing that he could think of were all the people that had surrounded him that were at the party. People that he had been mentoring for years, that had been, part of his organization for years, because he moved from California to Atlanta, and a lot of people came with him, kind of thing. And so all he could think of doing is telling them thank you while he's laying there dying and waiting for the paramedics to come and maybe save his life. He didn't know. He was telling these folks how much they meant to him and that kind of thing. Bless you. And so the paramedics come, they rush you to the hospital, and gets to the closest hospital, and they can't help him there. And so he's panicked. What am I going to do? I may have, go ahead and die. What am I going to do? And he thought about the doctor, the heart surgeon who had given him his card, and he actually kept that card in his wallet. So he gets his wife to pull out the card and call that doctor. And that doctor called, there's a university there in Atlanta called Emory University. It's one of the best heart facilities around. And so he of course was not there in Atlanta, but he called his buddy, who was a heart surgeon in Atlanta at that hospital, and got John transported to Emory. And his buddy, the heart surgeon, did the surgery and saved his life. But then he told him, after he came out of recovery and could talk and everything, he said, John, you've got to change your lifestyle. He said, if you don't, you are going to die sooner than perhaps you're supposed to. And he said, you have to change your diet. And John goes, oh, I will. I'll change my diet. I will. I'll stop eating peanut butter. I'll do it. And he goes, and you need to exercise. He goes, oh, I will. I'll get a treadmill. I'll exercise. And I'll do it. And he went through this list. And of course, John on everything said, I'll do it. And the doctor said, no, you won't. And John said, what? He said, no, you won't. He said, I see patients all the time, and just like you, they tell me that they're going to make these changes in their lives, but they don't do it. And he said, in a few years, they're dead. But John made the commitment that he was going to do it. So even to this day, he gets on a treadmill. And when I started working with him, so one of the things, the changes that he realized he had to make, was he was putting too much stress on his body by traveling all over the world, doing all these conferences. So that's when they decided to start doing these simulcasts. Hence comes Marcia, to get the start, help him start doing that. But he could still reach the people, actually more people, than he could in a year traveling around the world by doing these simulcasts, And so he made those changes that he had to make. He stopped eating peanut butter pies, and even when we would go, but he still would go and do conferences and things like that. So while I was working with him, when we would go and do these conferences, he would always take the team out to dinner and buy us a really nice dinner at a really nice place as our reward for working so hard, at the conference, for the conference. And we would all order dessert, but John wouldn't order dessert. He changed his habits. And by making that decision to do that, he was in his 50s when he had the heart attack. He's in his late 70s now, and he's still doing what he loves to do. So it's decisions that we make, choices that we make, that will determine our level of growth and success. And just remember that the key is the process. The key is the process. It's not the end event, it's the process. It's what we do day in and day out. You don't have to spend hours doing this leadership training and growth. If you start out with just 15 minutes a day, then maybe go 30 minutes a day, to just do something a little bit every day and continue to grow. And it will change your life, and it will change the lives of everybody else around you. So on the next page, we talked about different areas that we want to grow in, that we might want to grow in, or our different themes, Grace, that we talked about, we talked about. John has listed some of the different resources that he's written and teachings that he's done. A number of these are actually online on YouTube. You could actually sit and listen to him, do them. These are all books. He's written almost 100 books now on leadership. But these are all resources that will help you grow in those areas that you need to work on. So just choose one. If it's relationships, be a people person is awesome. Becoming a person of influence, you got a little taste of that, but this book goes into even more detail. Relationship 101, it's just a small little thin book. Winning with people, I've done that with my becoming a person of influence and winning with people with my team, and those are awesome. It's how to work with people, how to get people to listen to you, things like that. So those are just some great resources for you. And let me make sure I covered everything in there that you're going to see again. And then we'll have some questions. Okay. The only thing in the section that you're going to see again looks like under how to develop a healthy climate. Number one, create a growth environment. That's page 72. 72. Okay? So tomorrow, we're actually going to, so the first day we learn what is a leader. Okay? We need to review the process. What's the L stand for? Leadership. Equipper. Dreaming. Excellence. Rebecca principles. And relationship. There they are. Relationships. Good. You guys are so smart. I love it. And then yesterday, we discussed how to increase your influence with other people. The I stands for Kentucky University. The N. F. L. U. E. Enlarge. N. C. G. Empower. And then there's an R. And the R, you said it, relationship. Wasn't that it? Is that it? Is he right? Is he right? What's the R stand for? What influence? Reproduce. Yes. Reproduce. Okay. And then today, of course, we talked about how to grow as a leader. Okay? And then tomorrow, we're going to spend the day talking about reflections of a leader. So things that John has, through the years, that he's experienced and learned. We're going to talk about teamwork. And it's, I love this. I love this because he's going to share some of his experiences and lessons he's learned the hard way, you know, to keep us from maybe going through some hard times. Okay? And I'll add my 2 cents in as well. And then I think also we're gonna take a picture tomorrow, right? Steve? And so what I'm gonna do, if you don't mind, so dress accordingly. I'll even wash my hair. But we're gonna take a picture with you guys holding your books. Okay? And then I'm gonna send it to our church. Okay? We can say thank you. Okay? So, with that, are there any questions, anything, any comments, anything that we want to say before we close the day on this? How much time do we have? Maybe you got your timer going. 8 minutes. 8 minutes. 8 minutes. So, any comments on this last little part that we talked about today? I've seen some of you asleep. I just want you to know I didn't go and embarrass you, but I did see some sleepers, supposed sleeping. So maybe you can get you a power nap during lunch. Nobody snored though, right? Everybody snored. But I saw some sleepers.